Today I read Spawn 9 by Image, written by Neil Gaiman and art by Todd McFarlane. And it starts off by seeing like this like innocent woman with like this long, luscious hair. And the first thing that I found super interesting was these like scrolls at the bottom that seemed to almost narrate the story and give more context to what was going on. And her first like depiction and words are saying, "Mercy, help me, for the love of God, will no one come, will no one save us?" So she's kind of looking desperate and like yearning for some help. And then a spawn comes in, and almost immediately like the scrolls start talking about like the failures and like the um, the disadvantages of being like a young and inexperienced spawn. Um, and one thing I found super interesting is they really make Angela look like super innocent and super young with like her bright like blue eyes, um, and her being carried by the spawn and like um, her leading the spawn to her sister, or at least that's what she said it is. Like I wasn't expecting anything malicious of Angela to come out of that. Um, and then when her whole like image changes, I noticed this like at the end of the story too, when she changes into like her evil version again. She switches like super quickly and almost like spontaneously. Like she gets them in the right position and immediately like she flips into her evil self, and that's what I think really like captures the spawn and tricks them up. And especially a downfall of the spawn was also that he was really young and inexperienced. And we can see here that her like costume changes and everything changes, and she like is almost like is hunting for these green like discs, which I found was super cool because it's like the soul of the spawns and kind of like their pride and joy. And then it skipped to 800 years later, which I thought was super cool because I didn't realize like they could like live forever, and because I thought she was just like maybe like had a human length life, but obviously that's not true. Um, and then it switches almost immediately to the story of Al Simmons, which I thought was super cool because I didn't know really who he was, and I knew who he was like the main spawn, but this is the first time I got to read him in the comic. And he's being like taken over or watched over by these, like kind of homeless men, but they're very like kind of considerate to him because they haven't been treated very well by the police. So they want to help him out in that way. And something I found super cool is that he can actually like spawn. I guess he can form like anything he wants to out of his mind, and the old man helped guide him to it. Like he had a bit of trouble like trying to make like the strawberry ripple wine that the old man asked for, but then after some advice saying you have to pull energy from your costume, it's a neutral parasite after all, he was able to do it. And that's when I first like started thinking about what the old man was possible of, because he was like he had all these like tricks in his pocket and he just seemed like a regular old man. um, but then the old man calls him Mr. Simmons, and he kind of freaks out, and he's like, "How do you even know my name?" And then it switches back to Angela, and she is meeting with this lady, Gabrielle, and she seems like to be like a boss, and they don't have the best relationship. Um, but she Angela shows Gabrielle a hunting permit, and Gabrielle's like, "Okay, okay, you just gotta get it over with." And she's kind of almost afraid of Angela, I think. Um, and then there's some fan art here, and then Al Simmons talks to the old man about like deals with the devil, and and the old man is like, "We've all made deals with the devil," and he's like, he doesn't understand that. He thought he was like the only one, or he thought it was like only something that Spawn or people could do, not like normal humans. And then Angela pops in, and she shows herself as like, or presents herself as like this normal like woman looking for help, and then almost immediately she like flips and changes into this like powerful being. And this was like probably my favorite page of the whole comic because it was just all one, like all the panels are combined onto this huge page. um, and yeah, like the whole color swap at like the very end, like the bright green, I thought was super cool too, because it shows like, or on the second one of the last pages, um, was super cool too because it shows like the power dynamic in the swap and just like the intensity of the scene, especially with no words. Yeah, in the end, I thought he died, but I actually don't think he does because I feel like that's like kind of almost a pathetic way to go out. Um, if it's just like he pressed the button after he was told not to. But I'm excited to see what the old man has in store because the last line says, "Pity Simmons showed potential. He could have been the one," and then it ends with a scroll again. So I'm super excited to see how that goes. Yeah.